out better than what they used to, or are we kinda still in the same boat there?
That's kind of a tricky question, actually. It's a
Sorry.
good question. No, no, that's a good one. I've been trying to work with MRL. Rightfully so, we can't say that they aren't doing what they're supposed to, because they do come through and do their background treatments and stuff. But and they put in a lot of money on that. However, I've had a lot of complaints throughout the community, MDT and stuff, and so I would like to get a better cooperative, deal with them. Myself, I see where there's a lot of different right-of-ways that have weeds in them. I don't know what it's gonna take, but I'm really looking into, all means necessary, but.
I can agree, I live next to one of them, and it's not good. So, thank you. Keep up the work.
Anyone else? All right. Joan, do you have a question?
I can't think of what ditch bank I'm trying to think of, Franklin.
Road out of Missouri,
Yeah. There's a little knapweed coming in on it.
See, the canals are a unique situation because
Yeah,
they are to the water district. They're the water users that are responsible for maintaining and upgrading theirs and controlling the weeds on those. But, yeah, there's some weed issues throughout the counties that are gonna probably need addressed as far as that goes too, so. In fact, I was just made aware of one the other day, right here on the edge of town, and that's this canal here, and it's getting kind of overrun with common tansy, which is a fairly new state-listed weed for this county, and so I'm gonna have to get together with the irrigation district there and make sure we get that under control as well.
what type of weed did you say new for the county?
I said fairly new, but it's a common tansy, which.
is it that vine weed, kind of like a vine?
No, it's actually it's kind of a showy flower. It's a really pretty flower, but it doesn't have any rayed petals. It's just a big, tall, kind of yellow with cluster heads.
Oh,
It
yeah.
kind of looks like an ornamental kind of a, flower, but I hadn't really noticed any of it in this county until this year. But that is one place. The other place I noticed some was up Dry Creek. And so, like I say, there's been a few spots here and there where it's been noticed up until this point, but we had them controlled, I thought, or under control, until I really noticed it this year, so.
On that map where that railroad right away up against the road out of Missouri and BLM through there, from the siphon down to Tossin, it's just almost continuous, solid knapweed.
Actually, that's one of the projects that we did that I didn't put on here, but the DNRC lands, out there outside of Tostin called me up, and the lessee couldn't afford to get out there and do it, and couldn't do some stuff, so the DNRC contracted with me, or the county, to go out and do some spraying. We did about 8 acres of spraying on that state lands, and we hit that right of way all the way back through from that state land up there, all the way back through along the railroad as well, trying to kind of hopefully slow some of that down.
You did that this fall, or?
No, I did that throughout the summer, or this summer. It was, I can't remember exactly what days it was, but they were worried that there's getting to be quite a bit of toadflax down in there, and then there was some spurge that they were concerned about along the river and stuff as well. But boy, with the water as high as it was this year, I just didn't feel right kind of getting anywhere close to that actual river's edge. But I did start working with the BLM, and hopefully we'll be able to carry on the agreement with the state next spring, and we're kind of looking at maybe getting somebody in there with a boat and that can spray from the river up along both sides of that river in there.
Can you give us an update too on the AIS?
The aquatic,
Yeah,
what do you mean as far as? an
how's
update?
it doing? How are we doing it?
Well, okay. This was kind of the first year that the conservation district actually was asked to support a grant for the AIS program this year. Gallatin County and Broadwater County kind of decided to step back a little bit in our actions on the AIS this year because 2 years ago, the point source was noted up there in the basic Jefferson Slough area. And they've got a huge infestation up there, and they've got some major issues because of the Pipestone project and things going on. And so, last winter when different agencies and different people wanted us to kind of head the grant, I said, no, I think it would be better if we asked the conservation district, because they can have a little bit more jurisdictional leadway as far as being able to cross borders and stuff like that. And so what we did this year is we set our priorities at trying to start with the Jefferson Slough and the point source of the Eurasian water milfoil and the curly leaf pondweed towards Jefferson Slough, and they kind of backed off. I won't say completely forgot about our responsibilities in this county, but we backed off of them. And so we put most of our efforts towards the Jefferson Slough and the river leading up to like the Toston Dam. But we did do a river float where we had 15 different people in our county and along the river there, where we did hand pulls throughout that river section. We put some bottom barriers and a few educational deals, some few control measures out in Toston Dam. And then in the Cottonwood Slough and the Cottonwood Canal area, they did some treatments. The FWP did some treatments in there. I think they did a hand pull and maybe put some bottom barriers and stuff out. But then also in the canal, they did a experimental and a trial on the herbicide treatments throughout the canal this year to try to get some of that Eurasian water milfoil under control. Does that answer it?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Statewide, are we gaining?
With weed, you mean? I don't know about statewide. Actually, we've had some new invaders in this state this year. We've had 2 known new infestations that I know of for positive throughout the state. One was Medusa head, which is kind of a grass, but it's really an invasive grass. It's worse than cheatgrass ever thought about being. And we did find a new infestation up in the northwest kind of the state. And then we have found some rush skeleton weed in the state this year. Hopefully we can get those under control before they get too far spread. But as far as what the rest of the state looks like, I'm not real positive on that, so.
Thank you.
All right, anything else from the board? Anything else from you, Scott?
I do have one thing real quick. Our equipment is getting older. The 6-wheeler is getting older, and we had a 2006 Yamaha Bruin 4-wheeler that we had, we've been using for spraying and stuff this year. The 6-wheeler, as you guys have probably heard, or with the 4-wheeler, we had an accident with it, which was a reportable accident. Since that, I brought that before the safety committee, and they kind of did their internal investigation. They asked that we look at all possibilities of possibly getting rid of the 4-wheeler and not allowing any more four-wheeler spraying for the county. So I took that before the weed board, they said, yes, please go ahead and get rid of it. Also, we're looking, this was the third season put on our Polaris Ranger, so I asked them if we could trade it in and put the money from the 2012 Ranger and the six-wheeler towards getting a new Polaris Ranger 6x6. They approved with a difference not to exceed $4,500. We decided to go with one company. I'll give you this, but I need to keep this. This is a quote. And we're looking that we can keep under the $4,500. We're gonna look at, the one thing that they wanted me to look at above and beyond what this quote is what kind of warranty, extended warranty they'll have with that. But if you folks would, you know, also, if you would approve of me to go ahead and trade off for a new piece of equipment, I brought the titles of both up to have you sign, so I can go ahead and get that underway and get that.
Is it four-wheeler going in and trade-in on this too, or are you selling outright?
Yes, it's going in on the trade-in, and that's a quote that this company gave us. The handwriting on the bottom is that quote did not have any kind of roof or back panel. But I said, yes, we want a roof and a back panel, you know, to kind of help control it, just to keep the sun off of our heads. And then when we spray, the reason for the back panel is if we're projecting, if we don't have some kind of protective barrier, a lot of times that mist comes up, that herbicide will come up and hit you on the back. So, that's why I asked for the back panel.
So we have 2 6-wheelers in?
No, we'll be back down to just one Polaris Ranger.
You're trading in 2 vehicles for one.
Yes. This is also, it's kind of been thought to, the reason that we're looking at trading off the six-wheeler that we have is this is kind of almost the point of, I guess you call them diminishing returns, where right now is if we decide we're gonna use it, then we're never gonna be able to make enough money to justify trading it off, to where right now it's right at that halfway mark. And so either we're gonna have to keep that and use it until it's completely shot and not even, you know, sellable, or get it now to where we can actually get some money towards the trade-in. So, as you can see, a new one here costs, our price is about $13,700, brand new. But I can say this company here was about $850 cheaper than the next bid that I got from anybody else. So even with the 500, whatever, yeah, I think it's right around $500 for the roof and stuff, you're still less than the closest bid. So,
And you have the money in your budget.
we do have the money in our budget, that comes right out of our grant budgets actually. That's what the $7,500 county reservation grants are used for. I've also put some money away through herbicide sales, cost share programs. So
Is that the standard Polaris warranty on it?
this one ends. That's where I say their standard is usually like a 6-month warranty, but I'm gonna look at their extended warranties and stuff and see the cost on them, and kind of base my analysis off of that. Because like I said, the weed board put in their rule, or in their approval of the vote, you know, not to exceed $4,500 difference.
All right, any questions for Scott on that? All right, I think we should go ahead and make a motion to support this, just so that there's no surprises for Scott down the road, or not, so that Scott knows where we stand. In the past, with operational expenses, what we've done is if a department head comes forward with a reasonable request, has the money in their budget, and their board, if they have one, supports it, then, you know, we support it. So I guess the first question is there any reason not to support this? Any arguments against it?
I make a motion that we do support it.
All right, is there a second to that? It's been moved and seconded to support the purchase as approved by the weed board, as demonstrated by your budget, and as demonstrated by you of the need, to support the purchase plan for a 6x6 for the weed department. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Will they be safer? Is a 6x6 safer than a 4?
Yes, yes, actually. We've been able to do things so efficiently with the six-wheeler that I went ahead this year and I was gonna do this before anyway, but I went ahead and purchased the spray system that we had was a 55-gallon spray system. We're getting about 2 acres per tank. I just purchased one this fall, a new spray system, which we needed to do some upgrades and some mechanical issues on the old one anyway. But I just purchased a 100-gallon spray system, which will give us about 6 acres per tank. So we won't have to spend near as much time running back and forth, loading. I was talking with these guys, the 100-gallon system, basically just adjust your shots a little bit and it'll take it. I know multiple commercial applicators that have went from 4-wheelers to 6-wheelers and had no problems, you know. I've actually rode with a couple of them and they will flat make you, if you aren't, I don't know how to say this, if you aren't religious, you'll start praying when you're riding with them, I guess, so.
Did the safety committee make any comments too about the safety issues with the 4-wheeler versus 6x6?
They're seeing that the 4-wheelers are pretty unsafe. I know certain counties throughout the state that will argue that that's their main means of spraying, but like our 6-wheeler had a Jackrabbit sprayer on it. It's 25-gallon. I had it set up to where we could get 2 acres out of one tank, but still, you had to be pretty careful with the 6-wheeler that we had. I don't know, I'm one of them guys that sprayed a lot of acres with a 4-wheeler. It just depends on your 4-wheeler and your setup, I guess. The safety committee, like I mentioned earlier, they kind of recommended that we not do any more 4-wheeler spraying within the county. So,
Okay, good to know. I'm gonna sign these with the notary, so I'll do it downstairs
Okay.
as soon as our meeting's over and then put it in your box. That'll work?
yeah. Any other questions or comments or anything from anybody?
Anything from the board?
I was just gonna ask you what size of tank, but you already answered that question.
The new one, 110-gallon. And if you'd like, get a hold of me. I'll be out there this afternoon. We've got sometime this afternoon, but I'd be more than happy to take you out there, show you the new system, and what I did do is when I pulled the old system off of this 6-wheeler, is we put it back on. We have another little trailer. I went and did the mechanical operations on it, got it running again, and that will be used towards a lease sprayer for however long we have it. So.
All right. Well, thank you, Scott. Nice work.
Thanks.
Very good work.
Then the facts and figures on there, I should apologize to you folks, some of them, you know, that was just kind of my notes, but I thought I'd bring them up here just so you could kind of look at you know, have a little bit of a record there, just guesstimates on acreages and dollars and stuff, so.
We understand that. Thank you very much, Scott.
Thanks.
All right, looks like that is the end of our meeting. Anything else for the good of the order? All right, Michelle Priggery will be here this afternoon. Anything from the public? Questions? All right, this meeting's adjourned. Thank you all. Welcome. Yeah, very much. No, not unless you guys want to. I didn't bring my purse up, but when I see you next or next week at this meeting,
Wednesday.
You always sit
Wednesday,
in the council
perfect.
seating
I'll bring my
there,
checkbook if you bring the tab. Thanks.
I don't hear very
Oh,
good, so
yeah.
I sit up front, I
I'm
have
just
to.
gonna make sure that's turned
I
off.
have trouble hearing
Oh.
that.
Yeah.
Someone speaks so
Oh,
soft.
especially in the fall, I can't get something, I can't figure it out.
Oh,
I hear it.